Ron Liebeck here with Rider Magazine. We're out here in Austin testing Can-Am's 2 new electric motorcycles. We have the Pulse here, which is their Street Smart motorcycle for a nice, in-town commuting. Very, very fun bike. And then we have the Origin, which is basically a dual sport / adventure bike for doing more of the off-road stuff, which you can see from the knobbies and everything. So I'm here with Dominic. He's the product manager, but I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm gonna have Dominic introduce himself.
So my name is Dominic Lemerise-Gauvin, which is a French last name from Canada.
All right, so Dominic, could you just walk us through, starting with the power plant, just a little bit of everything that are both similar with the bike, and then just show the little nuances of what's different between this bike and this bike.
Yeah, so definitely. So one of the beauties that the engineering team was able to do was to share a lot of core components. Here we're talking about battery, charger, inverter, swing arm, and motor.
Okay.
If we start with the battery, we got an 8.9 kilowatt hour battery, which will give you about 100 miles of range in the city or 80 miles of range a bit combined.
All right.
It's liquid cooled, which means you can guarantee that the battery health stays good for long periods of times because it's keeping the battery in the optimal temperatures at all time. And also you have a more reliable charging speed because the battery's kept cold. You can charge it quicker and start charging quicker as well.
Okay. All right.
So at a higher rate of charging throughout the entire charging process. If we talk about the motor itself, we have 47 HP, which sounds low, but really, if you as soon as you twist the throttle, you realize it's got something other than that hidden underneath there. So you can do on the Pulse 3.8 seconds for 0 to 60, and on the Origin 4.3 seconds for 0 to 60. So really good acceleration to give you that fun factor and really to get ahead of traffic when you're going through town.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the equivalent of a 700cc twin or something, right?
Exactly. Right. At the rear, we have a chain case, which is something that's unusual for the motorcycle industry, but something that we're very used to doing from snowmobile actually. And it being a silent chain case, it's actually one of the more silent options that we can get for the final drive. Because what happens is when you're driving with no sound, every single sound it gets accentuated. So we wanted to have the most silent final drive possible.
Okay.
On top of that, it's super protected. So if you're going off-road, no risk of having a rock fly in, and nick your belt or anything like that. And it's super low maintenance. So the first maintenance interval is at 5,000 miles, where you'll have to change the oil in the chain case. And after that, it's every 10,000 miles. So we're looking more at automotive types of maintenance rather than motorcycle types of maintenance.
All right. Yeah, that by far is my favorite design element of the bike. The Uncut. I just love how the whole chain's enclosed, and I love the low maintenance factor. So now, suspension-wise, you have KYB on both bikes. That's a 41? Or 41 on this one?
41, I believe 43 on the other one. And we have preload adjustments in the rear for both. And you also have compression adjustment at the rear and rebound adjustment as well over here.
All right, and the ground clearance on this thing it's over 10 inches easily. Because we
over
weren't
10 inches. I think 10.36.
Okay.
Around that ballpark.
All right, and suspension travel 2 is over 10, or is it at 10?
Yeah,
All right.
Just about over 10 inches suspension travel. We got 21 inches in the front, I believe 18 in the rear, and then both 17s on the Pulse for the front and the rear.
All right, and this has 5.5 inch travel on this one, so I remember that. So riding these around town was great. I love the electronics and everything, but I mean, it was really cool to work with the interface, and it's they have on this bike, it's a 10 and a quarter basic interface here. So could you just walk us through like what's contained there with the electronics and how it's displayed here, if you want to just explain a little bit of it?
So we have a whole HMI team at BRP, at Can-Am, which is a human machine interface. Specializing in making sure that the interactions that someone is having with the vehicle is very intuitive and easy to go through. So while you're going through your gauge, you'll be able to adjust your riding modes as well as your different settings for the vehicle itself. You can do some custom settings here. You can also do the passive regen and active regen, which you can adjust. You can set your charging time. So if you wanted to charge at night, if you want to charge only up to 80%, if you want to use Apple CarPlay, all available touchscreen through the gauge. And while you're riding, to make sure you stay safe, we disabled the touchscreen, so you can still maneuver around through the controls themselves. And we have some quick action controls that allows you to cycle through your music, through your different settings menus, as well to modify your riding modes while you're driving.
All right, and it's only Apple CarPlay now. Is there plans for anything to do with Android?
So nothing Android today? But we're definitely looking for a solution for Android users out there.
All right, cool. Well, hey, thanks for taking me through everything. I'm just gonna give the viewers some little bit of my notes here, but one thing about riding this thing in the city, it was super fun. What's great about it is it looks so small, but when you're on it, the rider triangle feels normal. So that's one thing I really liked about it. The second thing I liked about this bike, and both bikes, I mean, together, is the silence. It is actually it's eerie, almost eerie, because like, every time I ride an electric bike, I can hear the chain. And sometimes it's like, all right, I get it, I drip it. But this is like, there's no noise. So I mean, I heard a little bit of brake squeak before, and I'm sure it happens on every motorcycle, but it's just, everything is attenuated. It's awesome for that. So the handling super nimble on this bike, the power instantaneous all the way. And I don't know how many miles we do today on this.
We must have done at least 120, 130.
Yeah. So we had some charge left when we were doing, I think you guys were only charging at 80, right? Were you doing full charges or?
Depending on, we didn't do full charges the entire day.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the charge out of these, I know you mentioned it before, you can get 100.
So if you're charging between 20 and 80%, you get that done in 50 minutes.
Okay.
If you're doing a full charge all the way to the 100% from zero, that's closer to an hour and a half. And then again, one of the big advantages here in Texas, it was really hot today.
I'm sweating now, but under this freaking light.
And we got to experience as soon as you plug it in, it starts charging because the battery's kept cool. And then it charges at a fast rate the entire time. So a more reliable charging time for that.
All right, excellent. Yeah. And like I said, this was great in the city, and then we did this off-road. What was the name of that MX park we were at?
I think it was Spokes.
Spokes, yeah. This guy has over 400 acres, I think he was telling me, with like 8 miles of single track and all these cool desert tracks. And we were having a blast on this, just ripping around. And it was very easy to ride. So you just put it in, this one has 5 riding modes, includes an Enduro and an Enduro Plus mode. And you could, like, I was doing stand up, I was sitting down, but I got really lazy at one point and just let the bike do all the work. So it was just like sliding through the corners. I was just like, all right, this is fun. So the bike is super simple to ride off. I mean, you're not gonna go that far, but I mean, you could easily get 3 hours on one of those tracks just playing around, because what drains the battery mostly is the long distance highway stuff, right?
Yeah. When sustained high speeds is what really brings the range down. But if you're going lower speeds, city speeds, or in the trails where you never really peak out, you're good for a good while.
All right. Yeah, and it looks tall. It's 34 inches, but I mean, that's standard for any adventure bike. This thing is, what's the seat height on this? Like 30?
This is just above 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, very accessible seat.
Yeah. I mean, starters, new motorcyclists, they're gonna love this bike. I mean, it's right in the pocket. And for the first time since 1987, you guys are doing motorcycles and you're being super innovative by just launching 2 freaking awesome electric bikes, which styled beautifully. Obviously the engine's awesome, the liquid cooling, and the whole cool internal chain. I mean, I love it. So yeah, is there anything you want to add to let our viewers know?
No, I think you've summed it up pretty well. I think we're happy to be able to introduce 2 bikes at the same time with 2 distinctive experiences, even though they share a lot of components. And I mean, the ride says it all, and I think you've said it all.
Yeah, cool. And then last thing, price point, availability. What does this one start off
So
at?
this one starts off at $13,900.
Okay.
And then there's color options or packages where you can move up, get lights, get extra bells and whistles. And this one here starts out at $14,400.
Okay, and you were saying you have also a warranty.
Yes. So 2 years of warranty on the bike itself, but 5 years on the battery itself. This battery's been tested through scorching deserts, which we felt today, and also blistering cold, because we do also make electric snowmobiles. So it's the same battery that we use in the snowmobile. Yeah. So we know that battery's been tested through many environments.
Very excellent. All right, thanks, man, for your time. It was great riding with you. Yeah, check out. I'll have a full review on Rider Magazine, and yeah, check these out when they come in.